The city of Winona was recently selected as one of 10 communities in the United States as a finalist in a wellness initiative called The Way to Wellville. The program was developed by an organization called the Health Initiative Coordinating Council, or HICCUP, with the goal of helping communities make changes that will lead to healthier people and places. Locally, 9 businesses and organizations have been working to make Winona one of 5 communities selected to participate. One of them is Winona Health. This past week, members of the Way to Wellville initiative paid a visit to Winona to see what our community has to offer. Winona Health CEO Rochelle Schultz explained the program and what the site team was looking for.
What they were looking for was to identify 5 communities across the U.S., populations under 100,000, that would be willing to commit to 5 years on 5 metrics to advance health and wellness in the community, and to really look at, what makes a difference in the overall health and well-being of people. So it's not specifically like what's in the health system, it's what's in the broader community, what really contributes to overall health and wellness, and how do we advance those kinds of initiatives that make a difference in people's lives.
Schultz learned about the Way to Wellville initiative at a conference, and she and others believed it would be worthwhile to submit an application.
We found out about this and, put a group of people together from various organizations here, because we're all working on a lot of these same kinds of initiatives. And this would help us, I think, align maybe some of those better, and actually help us intentionally work at certain types of metrics, and how are we really knowing that the things that we're doing are making a difference.
The Way to Wellness initiative will help communities uncover best practices that will move them towards becoming healthier overall. To do that involves more than just access to good health care.
What we know is that health and wellness isn't just about the medical care that you get. It can be about, having stable jobs and security that way. It's having good food sources and healthy foods to eat. It's it's the art, it's the education system, it's the health system. It's all the pieces that sort of make a community work. And how do they come together? And so this is really, a challenge in that regard, to see what communities can do. The advent that's really kind of come about over the last few years is what we call the social determinants of health. So when we look at the health system, and everybody is really knowledgeable about all the dollars that are spent in healthcare, so we spend our greatest dollars in healthcare, but the issues don't happen in the healthcare system. They happen elsewhere. And it could be genetic things, it could be social structure things, environmental, this is where jobs come into play, education, and so forth. So there's all these other social determinants of health, which if we don't pay any attention to those, it shows up in the health system, where things, kind of break down for people. And so what we want to do is, sort of reverse that, get where those issues are. Let's see if we can't, make some interventions there to make a difference. And as a result, you're sort of shifting where those dollars are spent and really helping people.
According to the HICCUP website, 42 communities applied, and from that pool, 16 semifinalists were selected. That list was then narrowed to 10 cities and communities that would receive site visits. Schultz says they are thrilled with how Winona's site visit went. She believes Winona has a lot of wellness knowledge it can share, but could also learn much more on how to enhance community well-being.
We've been pretty excited as we've kind of made each of the cuts and then recently did our site visit because we think that not only could we be a role model in some ways, but we'll also learn a lot. There's pretty cool things that other communities are doing too that maybe we haven't thought of. And so just that sharing of information and finding, like-minded communities, we can put a stake in the ground and help a lot of other communities across the U.S. see what's possible.
While Winona has many of the desired programs in place to advance overall community wellness, Schultz says we still have areas that need attention.
There are a lot of really great things that are happening, and we're pursuing really the right things. We're understanding the issues in the right way. But the balance is we're doing all of that, yet we still have poverty rates here that are high. We still have some of the health issues that show up in diabetes or obesity or some of these kinds of issues. We still have a high percentage of our kids on free and reduced lunches in school, and having disconnects in the summer and so forth. So we still have things showing up on certain measures in our community that aren't getting moved with all of the interventions that we're doing. So part of a lot of this is where's the disconnect, and how do we reach the people that clearly we're either not reaching yet or we haven't fully reached, and are some of the things that we're doing, they might be really great, but are they making a difference? And we don't know that, and that's something that we want to, investigate a little bit more. Or maybe we need to take some of them further. We're just not taking it far enough. So I think as we, sort of go through this whole program, I mean, that's the piece of the metrics, is how do you really, move the dial on that and, do some community impact in a pretty positive way.
The other cities vying for participation in the Way to Wellness initiative are Clatsop County, Washington, Clinton County, New York, Columbus, Indiana, Lake County, California, Muskegon, Michigan, Niagara Falls, New York, Scranton, Pennsylvania, and Spartanburg, South Carolina. Hiccup will conclude site visits next week, with the 5 participating cities expected to be announced later this month.